Winter greetings from Canadian Mennonite University. Now, this is a time of pandemic, a time of continuous adaptation, a time where we're reckoning with all we're learning in all the wildernesses of isolation that we're experiencing. And we're also reckoning with what we're hoping for whenever people can gather together more freely again. Now, this week, CMU began teaching mostly in person. That's been possible with increased measures of practicing community safety, health, and well-being. And students are very excited about being together to learn again. One of the things we're doing really intentionally is practicing resilience by asking each other questions like this. What do you care about? What are you curious about? So through this term and through this place, we're going to take you into CMU by having a few short interviews with things that students and staff and faculty care about and are curious about. So here today first is Jubilee Dewitt-Thiessen, a third-year English major who is also the VP External for Student Life. Now that means that she participates in student life and also that she participates on the board and Senate and all kinds of other governing bodies. Thanks so much to Jubilee for doing all that work. And now I'm going to chat with her a bit on what she cares about and what she's curious about. Hi, Jubilee, and thanks for being willing to chat here today a little bit. So give us a window into something that you care about, that you're curious about, and something about how that connects with how you live through this pandemic and on.
Yeah, last year I took a class on the 17th century philosopher Spinoza, where I became curious about how his understanding of active affects like love and joy can help construct an ecological ethic. So even though Spinoza doesn't explicitly talk about caring for the earth, his understanding of joy seems to provide a hopeful and grounding framework for action as we grapple with climate despair. Spinoza indirectly suggests that feeling infinitely in debt to creation and to nature can paralyze us with the passive affects of sadness and fear and anger, whereas active feelings like love and joy can empower us to act and feed our energy as we try to care for the earth. I feel despair for the earth because I love it, and I experience great joy in creation. And so cultivating joy in my work of caring for creation can help make the work more sustainable and life-giving, and can facilitate better community. And something that I've been learning this year is that there really is no limit to the tenderness that I can bear. And so this act of cultivating joy can apply to many areas of grief and loss, not only climate change. In this pandemic, we have experienced really heavy losses and griefs, and it's important to grapple fully with those difficult feelings. I think it can be tempting to push away those hard feelings and in favor of pursuing joy, but I think it's really important and valuable to embrace both grief and joy at the same time. And doing that requires great tenderness to be able to hold grief and joy in the same breath. And so that is something that I have been learning to do in this pandemic.
I love this, Jubilee. Like, I get a sense that you practice joy, like you live into your grief in ways that, like, some of us might think about practicing the piano or practicing, for sports games or practicing our writing or our artwork or something like that. Like, you're actually practicing joy even as you attend to your grief, and then in the midst of that, finding your way to live well in ways that are very real and also find ways forward. And so thanks for sharing that, and joy be with you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks. And now here's Craig Turlson, who is design manager for our communications department. Now, design manager means he connects ideas with words and with images and with people in diverse places. I always love walking past Craig's office. He's got this incredible way to be focused and connected ergonomically between what he's thinking about and what he's looking at on the screen and how he's moving his mouse with his right hand and then typing with his left. You know, most of us just look limp at our computers, but he's just so connected. It's so beautiful. In any case, I'm going to talk to Craig about something that he cares about and is curious about. Listen in. Hi, Craig. So wonderful to chat with you today, and please offer a glimpse into something you care about, something you're curious about, and how that shapes what you think you're doing here at CMU.
Thanks, Cheryl. One of the things I get to do in my daily job is take photographs of everyone that works here. Staff, faculty, sometimes student ambassadors. And what I tend to do, because no one really wants to get their picture taken, so I have these conversations with them so they can be at ease, but it also comes out of deep curiosity for me. And the curiosity comes from how did you get here? How did you get to CMU? And I think it's because it's a question I've asked myself in my own career path. I've been at CMU now for about 10 years, did a lot of things before, but CMU is a little bit of a hidden jewel. It was for me that I ended up here as a bit of a surprise. I mean, I marvel at how I got here, and so I'm often very curious, how did you get here? Whether that's a new staff person or a new prof or just anyone who's working on campus. And generally, I'm one of the first people they get to see. Yeah. And so I get in these conversations about, like, tell me, what was the path that you got here? And I find that in my day-to-day work, really my job and all communications job is to tell the story of CMU. Mm-hmm. We tell it in words, we tell it in pictures. And when I have these stories, other people's stories in the back of my head, that really helps me kind of consider and put together almost a question like, why this place? Why is it different? I mean, I mentioned again that it is a jewel, and I do think it's a jewel. I feel very blessed to be able to work here. And I think that telling the story is to tell other people, this is a really different place. And that's why I'm curious, especially people get it kind of through different paths, how they end up here. It's not always the same path. I mean, sometimes it's a family path or a friend of a friend, and sometimes it's just like out of the blue. They show up. Almost seems like out of the blue, and I always tell them the same thing. I say, well, you're going to find that this is a pretty special place, and so that curiosity helps me just continue to weave the story of CMU. I guess I'd say it that way.
Hey, thanks so much, Craig. Like, I love that what makes it actually a special place is that you take the time to ask people their story. You know, you could just, okay, I'm going to take your photo, click, done. Yeah. But instead, you take the time to get to know them, what brings them to life, and so on. And then it becomes a special place where people are asking these questions of cares and curiosities. So, hey, thanks so much for living that and for what you're doing there and for all the stories you're telling us in word and in picture.
Thanks for asking.
So much.
Okay.
Take care. Hey now, thanks so much to you, to both Jubilee and Craig, for sharing with us. And thanks to all of you who are listening today for all the ways that you care about CMU and are curious about what's going on here. Ask those questions of others around you, and may joy be your companion this day, for the hope of God is with you.